In your headlines, government continues to prepare for pre- and post-storm incidentals. PARROT conducted training on the detection and laboratory diagnosis of monkeypox. And the Biden administration is making amendments to requirements for international travel. From the PTV Broadcasting Headquarters in Providenciales, your number one source for news, I'm Erica Pinales delivering the latest from across the country this Monday, June 13th, 2022, right to your door. Newswatch starts now. In today's top story is part 2 of the CDB's President Chat, where they discussed innovative financing for sustainable development. Take a look. The Caribbean Development Bank in its recent seminar spoke about what MDBs can do and how best can multilateral development banks play a catalytic role in globalizing innovative financing, including from the private sector, in order to accelerate development outcomes. During these discussions, many important points were made by MDB presidential panelists: President Jean Leon of the Caribbean Development Bank, President Claver Karen from the Inter-American Development Bank, President Werner Hoyer of the Europe Investment Bank, and Dr. Warren Smith, former president of the Caribbean Development Bank. As a means of meeting the one purpose of the CDB to create a region where we would all want to live by choice, and given the magnitude of the problem, Dr. Leon says that this cannot be done alone, or in other words, you cannot solve $1 trillion problem with $1 million solution. Dr. Leon pointed out 3 things needed to create a successful financing ecosystem: demand, adequacy of supply, and the right of environment for investors.
Resilience is a function. It's a functionality that says the only way you can keep yourself on a trajectory that is stable, that will allow you to sustain yourself, is if you can be resilient. And you can be resilient in the sense that what we do know is the world is always a place of dynamic uncertainty. Things are always going to happen to throw you off that track. But when you get thrown off the track, if you are not able to bounce back, there is no way you can sustain the previous trajectory that you had. And so consequently, being able to be sustainable, being able to maintain and pursue longevity requires you to have resilience.
Further stating that it is the combination of process, people, adaptation, and monitoring blended together effectively at the MDB and government level that will make a change to the implementation deficit issue. The seminar then moved on to another speaker, President Hoyer from the EIB. As CDB and EIB have partnered on many sustainable development initiatives, Dr. Hoyer was inquired on whether he foresaw a future of enhanced collaboration between CDB and other MDBs on this holistic approach and the potential ventures that could arrive from this increased focus.
Presently, we are really in a multi-crisis world. Beyond the climate question, which will be in the center of my remarks later on, we are presently busy from morning to night, practically only with COVID and with the war. And this is something where we also learn beyond resilience, which I fully share, we need to be prepared. And preparedness, for instance, in the health sector, in the situation of the development of viruses, will be key. Now, I think CDB has an unparalleled expertise when it comes to tackling development challenges in the region. So working together, we can achieve much more. We have an excellent partnership with CDB, which started in 1978. And since 2011, we have more and more focused on climate action with concessional finance and technical assistance to support climate adaptation and mitigation in the Caribbean region. And this is only the beginning.
Dr. Hoyer said that there is no time to waste when it comes to climate and investment over the next 10 to 15 years. And if not, it will change the faces of our economies and societies if we wait too long.
We will be confronted with the necessity to engage in abrupt transition with the vulnerable most hit. And already now we can see that whether it's the consequences of the war in Ukraine, on the agricultural market, for instance, or whether it's the health situation and COVID probably was only the beginning of huge challenges in the health field, where we better be prepared and cooperate together. We recognize absolutely that beyond our cooperation between multilateral institutions, the provision of grants and loans, that's not enough. New financial instruments will need to be deployed in order to bring private capital to fund also climate action.
Hoyer said he believes they've established a wide selection of fertilized knowledge from their activities in the EU with its supported countries, including the Caribbean. Stay tuned for more of the story in a subsequent newscast. Here's another look at how government continues to prepare for pre- and post-storm incidentals, including flood mitigation. We have the details.
Another priority after preservation of life for the Department of Disaster Management and Emergencies, both before and during a storm, is flood mitigation. And the Department of Public Works say they are ahead of the game.
All drainage in the Turks Islands, we actually maintain them on a regular basis. We have improved the quality or the flow of the water quite a bit. And the wells and stuff, we have new wells drilled in the low-lying areas to receive the water as quick as possible. Just a quick update, Public Works.
The drainage system in the Grace Bay and downtown areas of Provo were addressed by Minister of Physical Planning, Honorable Akira Mizik, some weeks ago after some flooding occurred due to an onset of a few hours of steady rain. Officials say it is important for drainage systems to be functional so as to make roads accessible for emergency response personnel during and after a storm, especially in places that provide emergency medical care and travel, should the need arise. The Providenciales International Airport is a flood-prone area and seems that situation has been addressed.
I think you would see we just install a new drainage on the head of the airport. That's one of our main areas that continue to flood. We actually in the process of improving the volume of the water that we pump off right now as we speak. So hopefully that will eliminate the flood altogether on the airport road.
Communication is also at the top of that list of priorities.
We have new VHF radios to communicate with the sister islands, and also we have our new water pumps and standby generators all serviced and ready for the event.
PWID has also announced that they've been provided new tractors that were procured to facilitate cleanup and removal of debris after a storm, should one occur.
It's time for a quick break. More News Watch when we return.
This is a reminder that all PTV service accounts are due on the first day of each month. Accounts should be brought up to date by the 28th of the month to avoid disruption in service. Payments may be made on our office at Stubbs Diamond Plaza, Providenciales, Mides Plaza, North Caicos, and Airport Road in South Caicos. Payments may also be made online using Scotiabank, CIBC First Caribbean Bank, and Royal Bank of Canada. Please allow 3 business days for online payments to be processed. We thank you for your cooperation.
Welcome back to News Watch. The Oswaldo Cruz Foundation, the Brazilian Ministry of Health, and the Pan American Health Organization conducted training in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, on the detection and laboratory diagnosis of monkeypox, in which experts from 7 Latin American countries are participating. Here's more. Monkeypox is a zoonosis caused by the monkeypox virus of the genus Orthopox virus, which belongs to the family Poxviridae. The infection is characterized by rash or skin lesions that are usually concentrated on the face, palms of the hands, and soles of the feet. The example for laboratory examination is taken from a person with symptoms of the skin lesion, and the result can take 1 to 3 days from the time the sample is received in the laboratory. The training seeks to strengthen the capacities of laboratories in Bolivia, Colombia, Ecuador, Paraguay, Peru, Uruguay, and Venezuela to detect cases of this disease, given the recent outbreak reported in several countries around the world that are not endemic for monkeypox, that is, countries in the circulation of the monkeypox virus had not been previously notified. From the training in Rio de Janeiro, we gather that participants received hands-on training in molecular detection of the virus that causes monkeypox and review detection and diagnosis in the context of preparedness and response to potential outbreaks. Detecting the virus is the first step in preventing spread, disrupting chains of transmission, and stopping an outbreak. Newswatch learns that between the 13th of May and the 8th of June this year, more than 1,000 cases of monkeypox have been reported to the WHO in 29 non-endemic countries, 4 of them in the region of the Americas, Argentina, Canada, the United States, and Mexico. To facilitate PCR testing, the Institute of Molecular Biology of Paraná in Brazil donated to the Pan American Health Organization regions for the diagnosis of monkeypox, which, in addition to others acquired by PARROT, which will reportedly be delivered to about 20 countries in Latin America and the Caribbean. The Biden administration is making amendments to requirements for international travel as it relates to COVID-19 risk mitigation. Newswatch has the details.
The United States has lifted its COVID-19 test requirement for international travel. Travelers coming into the United States no longer have to present a COVID-19 test result within 24 hours of intended entry. The Centers of Disease Control made the announcement last Friday that the requirement would end on Sunday, June 12th. Airlines and tourism officials were calling for the amendment for months, citing that the testing requirement discourages travelers wanting to book international trips and fear that they wouldn't be able to return home if they contract the virus while abroad. According to usnews.com, some infectious disease experts say they are comfortable with the change, citing that it is unlikely that it will result in a further spread of the virus in the United States. Airlines of America shared that domestic U.S. travel has returned nearly to pre-pandemic levels, while international travel has continued to lag. In May, U.S. international air travel remained 24% below 2019 levels. However, U.S. airlines estimate that dropping the test requirement will mean 4.3 million more passengers in 1 year.
Don't touch that remote. We'll be right back. Coming up next is your weather forecast.
This is a reminder that all PTV service accounts are due on the first day of each month. Accounts should be brought up to date by the 28th of the month to avoid disruption in service. Payments may be made on our office at Stubbs Diamond Plaza, Providenciales, Mides Plaza, North Caicos, and Airport Road in South Caicos. Payments may also be made online using Scotiabank, CIBC First Caribbean Bank, and Royal Bank of Canada. Please allow 3 business days for online payments to be processed. We thank you for your cooperation.
Here's your weather forecast for June 14th, 2022. For the nation's capital, Grand Turk, on Tuesday, partly cloudy skies, high 84, low 79, winds east at 20 to 30 miles per hour. For South Caicos on Tuesday, partly cloudy skies, high 83, low 79, winds east at 20 to 30 miles per hour. For North and Middle Caicos on Tuesday, partly cloudy skies, high 85, low 79, winds east at 15 to 25 miles per hour. For Perryton Pine Key on Tuesday, partly cloudy skies, high 84, low 79, winds east at 20 to 30 miles per hour. And on Providenciales on Tuesday, partly cloudy skies, high 84, low 79, winds east at 20 to 30 miles per hour. Now for your sunrise and sunset. Sunrise 6:07 a.m., sunset 7:34 p.m. And for your high tides and low tides, high tides 8:02 a.m., 8:30 p.m., and low tides 2:04 a.m., 2:01 p.m. And for your hurricane outlook, for the North Atlantic, Caribbean Sea, and the Gulf of Mexico, an area of low pressure is expected to develop by the middle part of this week over the southwestern Caribbean Sea. Some slow development of this system is possible thereafter, while it drifts generally northwestward off the coast of Nicaragua and Honduras. And that's it for your weather forecast and hurricane outlook. We'll be right back for more News Watch.
Here at People's Television, we're more than just your leading news and entertainment services. We are
spreading the gospel.
We are breaking barriers.
We are preserving the culture. Each one, teach one.
We are committed to excellence.
We're creating change.
We are creating memories.
We are the future.
I am PTV.
I am PTV. I am PTV.
I am PTV.
We are PTV.
We are continuing the legacy. We are PTV.
This story has so much valid information that we thought we'd run it again, just in case you missed it. The Caribbean Development Bank in its recent seminar spoke about what MDBs can do and how best can multilateral development banks play a catalytic role in globalizing innovative financing, including from the private sector, in order to accelerate development outcomes.
In terms of a holistic approach to development, I think we need to start from the very real position that the region's needs are extremely huge. And they are very, very much in a, if we can put this correctly, a phase that says we need to tackle all of the needs, not just one of the needs, because if we don't do all, we simply cannot achieve the development goals that we are talking of. And when we say development goals, what exactly are we talking about? We can summarize this as implying making the region a place of choice where future generations want to live. And if we start from that basic premise, I can think very quickly of at least 4 key goals that we need to embrace as a region. One has to be food security. The second, we have to have energy security. The third, I think we must have water security. And then as long as you have the food, the water, the power, then we need to talk about quality of life security. And that will entail the very elements you spoke of in terms of the SDGs, living in a peaceful and secure environment, having access to quality health, having adequate education and shelter, such that your quality of life can be a premium. And so I think if we start from that particular position, we will understand that development, therefore, has to be a holistic one, which requires us to be able to tackle all of those particular needs that I just outlined.
Dr. Leon says that the fundamental element underlying all of this is resilience.
Being able to bounce back, being able to continue to build, and do that in all of the areas that are necessary to make this a holistic statement. So it's holistic growth, and to have that, you must have holistic resilience. And holistic resilience means a resilient ecosystem. And underlying all of this, clearly, we cannot proceed without having adequate finance. And therefore, I underpin all of this to say our main issue or our biggest challenge in the region today is having access to adequate and affordable finance. I want to call it today #AAAF, access to adequate and affordable finance.
As a means of meeting the one purpose of the CDB to create a region where we would all want to live by choice and giving the magnitude of the problem, Jean says that it cannot be done alone.
I think we can recognize, therefore, that given the magnitude of the problem that we are looking to fix, it's quite clear that we cannot do it by ourselves. And I say that to underline that the only way we can tackle the problem is through what we can call broadly strategic partnerships. Strategic partnerships with the private sector, strategic partnerships with the external environment, and that means investors, knowledge creators, institutions that can provide ways in which we can do. But partnerships, therefore, become the basis, the foundation to allow us to do our key issue of meeting the purpose of a holistic development agenda with adequate and affordable finance.
Jean ended that part of the segment by saying, quote, "You cannot solve $1 trillion problem with $1 million solution."
And since we have $1 million, but we need $1 trillion, there is no way we can get there without crowding in, and therefore the need for partnerships from all areas, domestic and external, public and private, institutional and even philanthropic, as a means of addressing and taking us to the next point that we are looking to get to. So Myron, that would be the broad context, I think, why we talk of holistic and why we talk of partnerships, to be able to anchor the very one issue that we all need to embrace. As I said, it's the #AAAF, access to adequate, underline adequate, and affordable finance.
Stay tuned for more of this story in a subsequent newscast. In a May 27th statement, a spokesperson for the refugee agency UNHCR urged regional governments to do more to assist persons fleeing from their homeland, Haiti. This came as the situation continues to worsen in the neighboring failed republic, where there is escalating deterioration in security and rising gang violence. The Minister, Honorable Musgrove, in response to the UN and in light of the recent illegal migrant activity in the TCI, stated, quote, "I am appalled at the United Nations. Their unrealistic call for regional governments to do more is nothing short of reckless and misguided. Haiti has a population of 11.6 million people. How could any small developing state like the Turks and Caicos Islands assist that number of people or even the smallest fraction of them? We have a population of some 47,000 persons, and our healthcare, education, and other social systems remain fragile and could never withstand any influx of refugees. This would be a risk to our very own livelihood. I do sympathize with the Haitian people. There is a real crisis in Haiti, one which the UN peacekeeping mission itself retreated from in 2019, and it has gotten progressively worse since then, but here is not the place for them. We cannot accommodate them in the TCI. Over the last 4 days alone, and following the call of the UN, there were 3 successful at-sea interceptions by the Marine Branch of the Royal Turks and Caicos Islands Police Force and 1 go-fast boat landing in the community of 5 Keys. A total of 390 illegal migrants are currently being repatriated from the Turks and Caicos Islands. Additionally, the United States Coast Guard and Operation Bahamas and Turks and Caicos continue to cooperate on matters of illegal migration and the policing of the waters around the Turks and Caicos, the Bahamas, and the United States, and there have been successful diversions of other would-be dangerous crossing attempts before they could ever enter our waters. The minister continued, "I wish to recognize the work of our partner agencies, U.S. Coast Guard, Operation Bahamas and Turks and Caicos, and the Marine Police, who continue to ensure that these large vessels do not make clandestine landfall, and that of my own team in the Department of Immigration and Customs, who continue to respond to the unceasing pressures of illegal migration." I further call on my own people, Turks and Caicos Islanders, and any person who has chosen to live among us who dares to be involved in this ring of people smuggling. This is a crime, and there are persons who know who are involved in it and refuse to inform the authorities.
We are our own worst enemy. We are helping to destroy our own country, and that cannot be okay. It will not be okay.
We will continue to work at unraveling and interrupting this organization, and we will take whatever measures necessary to bring an end to this horrendous situation." End quote. The Turks and Caicos Islands has faced unrelenting challenges with illegal migration over the years, and in recent times has expensed in excess of $3 million year on year on the repatriation and other costs associated with detention of illegal migrants. And that brings us to the end of this edition of The Real News. I hate to leave you so soon, but of course, you can join us right back here every weekday at 6:30 p.m. and tap into our social media platforms at www.ptv8tci.com. I'm Erica Penales, keeping you informed, updated, and affiliated. Until next time.